Hodot the Neben and Dr. Boo Nygren, Hodget Thursday, and the whole Zish, Hodget, the kitchen, and the Nishi. At the hon Nifigido, Shanan, Nishto, Ilabanda, Alte, Nenegi Sad, get your Honish, Benish, Anito, Hodoya. Roshin how dojish, Nado, Kadahonis, and a gay touchy ninch, not also Bashin, or Toduchi, Nidashid, or not also Edashional, a hot old Sabagan hot Sunday, not on in the Hunchle. Roya, upcoming holidays or appreciation days. Sundays, happy Easter dan kidesh nila rashin jono Santa hotle to kikedon kisoke dan lenigis hamode nada hito kap aro ye jishin dat dos to chinies da nande jehoda chiligi yitada des io haden tadel eshibedo hajo at dos listo kitat not dom the Shibe Honey Hobini Nache Hoto Easter Baho don't know that dos to Toda dot lane stop in Natchim a yo sad beshi has she other dot hoto a hand get in the little happy Easter Nanagi local announcements. The 2024 Navajo chapter elections will be Tuesday, July 30th, primary election. The general election will be Tuesday, November 5th. Candidate filing in April 25. May 8th that they'll cut. Late Nas Nille, Bandite Shorta no Senegi, not Ani de Sleta no Songe, not Sos, Dahido Nes, April 25th, May 8th that they'll cut. Nessigi. I said that Nessigi July 30th, Tuesday, go Nedo late. She had to be that little late. Not Ani de Sleta, Sashia, not Ani da no Senegi, that the bean Shahasi, but Lahobigan, so that in this case, though, the never can add this was the Strassi go. The Kushin peso be his on in Kushi that on Kikishin that Nishin de Pinish, Adano Senegim, Didio, Nilo, a kitten that these Nish, Shako Tatnas, Nilanat Ani, then Lenigi, but you didn't eat it. To be a which, na Nishike that Enigi, Dosashit, school board that Enigi, but they not yet the less praising officials that the Bebenant Ada. What ocean, Ben can Jewish Lado. Navajo Nation Judicial Branch will be hosting a Justice Day on April 1st. Wonder Rock District Court parking lot. First come, first serve basis, 9 o'clock. The judicial branch has anigi. April 1st, 9 a.m. Wonder Rock District Court parking lot. Missing Navajo people. Shiprock Police District, 14-year-old Muslim Rockwell, last seen, Whitehorse High School, Montezuma Creek, March 12, 14 years old, Eyajan Logi Hapatan, Har Shina, Ranagin, Kispat Hozon, Shame, Torches allowed because Anagi, Richard Hatoslim, 505 368 1350. Ado Kienta Police District, 28-year-old Demetrius Blake, last seen wearing black Nike shoes. Kienta, Twadinesh, Salab, Khazanagi, 928-697-5600. Honda Hatosne, but in Rato, Hota Ilsa, can spat the Hazon, She Hot Edoli. Ado located Navajo people, Katrina Benali, was reported missing March 3rd, has been located and safe. She became Tatanatzato, she happened in Tad, she became and Lenegate, but up in there, how one the she Tanatza. What is happening in the world? Caitlin Clark received an offer to join Big Three Professional Basketball League owned by Ice Cube. Leshi Sani, Josie, Nutnegi, Bahatni. Hayuhat no, the cushion points in a 30, don't see the most points scored by an NCAA athlete. No, the Nebekena Naz Das number 22. No, she had the team. What's happening in the world? And she'll still have an opportunity to play the WNBA after 10 games. No, this time in history, what was thought as a mistake turns out to be brilliant. 157 years ago, some people thought it was a mistake to buy Alaska for $7.2 million in 1867. Secretary of State William Seward. Kaya toya yistin denado ara keda hatina khaishe binya 7 million binya number in snip at no hashi ba nahatine kadetish jiden jono Alaska but no bini nache at 50 states in them eshi hoto So this time in history, Navajo life lesson. Second total solar eclipse in 7 years. This coming Monday, North America will experience its second solar eclipse since 2017. On the Navajo Nation will be partial, and we stop all activity in our way to respect the holy people. And we should not eat, sleep, travel while it's happening. We will remain respectful. On Navajo, about 10 a.m. to 2 o'clock. And le instrada eclipse hatni go that on and I see trande classroom on it or eats out the trote claro the big habane cajon I saw a joar or that no da hot oh she so hot oh and cashindo ne the sinzenigi nina nista to na chotili on a range 4 hours to let on sin case to let the hajo pan sa case da hot oh a time of reflection Hajoshi da Queen Sindo Nat Don Najda Lapan Sahakista. So use that time, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. to stay humble and stay respectful. This coming Monday. A few of the week's accomplishments. The Navajo Epidemiology Center and Navajo Special Diabetes Program hosted St. Patrick's Day. Let's get vaccinated. 5K run walk. Neshi Winter Rock Fairgrounds. The net since the Tashin DJ don the Tadado the wood ishi had a dot seto zen had a cast open in Natch the Katayada hot 8 open the Yashi hot but ho up is sta nezet no cats at the honela the net nahas do na di nahas honela cat nas nele absent has anigi ado at Katahon them hot ocean ne John Lake and she changed to but you hold just been in Natch. On March 27, I attended the ribbon cutting for N71 Bird Springs. The Little Senior Community School, the Chinias, Nzonon Hassan de Des Ando Yateho, Chinias de Nebazado, Senadat, Hagibis Bada Husband, Eshi a bitch 18. Die Kushina, Standardish Latina, Dotimba, Nahat Odo, Doshlish Nahatle, Nedoshin, Ahne, Kadinda, Analia, Hot Eda, Netatia, Enem, Stendahal, all the Dolestano, Ebeninache, Enda, Do, Navajo Engineering and Construction Authority, you know, a teen days, Glazdo, a Tanda, Analia, Eshihoto Ar. Archokeda, not any own Kilpada $1,000. Teen Nashlej. I signed a $228,000 small business contract for Bahal Chapter House roof renovation. Chapter House, see Bacado, Alchedo, Nito, Tobagadas, Ledo Hashit Osa Anhatnene, Eshi, Alchenadneto, Leton, Jono, Toyanan, Nahashi Adneto, Lech. I signed a $476,000 contract with the Navajo Company for Theroux Senior Center renovation. Eshi Theroux just Senior Center Hajo, Alchedo, Nilch Yan, Ataz Neto, Bita Atkinigi, the Nida, Natahido, Nilto, Nilchinal Kidda, Eda. Hajo and Nidi dot Nilto o the parking lot Hajo the Nebchinda has Egida ADA compliant Nenigi so a straight Nilha no base of a last name. Although I signed a $157,000 contract to build a gazebo for Tsaili Senior Center. Ishint lo gazebo and Juno Santo Silaro Benye Biya Nda Atito Le no Hajon Dolts flagpole that Enigidosh solar street lights, do kitchen range, the Quigushin Hoto Aja Elchedo Nilha no Belas Slim. Le Washington na case card na shaw Bishwas under Ada at Kataholoda. Speaker Curley, Delegate Eugenia Charles Newton, Delegate Sherilyn Yazi, Speaker Otto So, Nathan Notada, Bishwas and Ada, Beskadish Kande, Ada, Besoban, Hatinigi Washington, don't know what the Yahon net, no yash in the econ. Dear Dobby at the hay, long yet. The Netani, Lenigibich, the Lenigi, when you do Kaya, so yon, Scobini Natch, Dan Kidos and Hey, I don't hand the house. the tribal courts at Nenegi Haisheben in a peso nacho Yahota Saro construction bada BIE Mieta Old Kaigida. Eya Binya Hadi Kande. Auto major projects I'm working on. Division of Aging and Long-Term Care Support held a meeting to discuss New Mexico capital outlay projects. Eshe Peshwan yo Torge Beshmans andan linigido yo toja ye hawan ade hawan da ad beso dan kitchen hotel enigi daltex chidida banahat enigi hait o la chidisa nada hait on chidin nezigi van to kuigoshi big hagi senior centers da enigi hajodo le no yinda au ad sasalim arosh ad shata enishigi da daltex ad da hanlon. Also, the Net Action Plan held a summit to meet with Khatkhathlis at the Net College in Saley. Over 100 attendees added the Hanlon Le Khatkhathli dan Linigi Asato Le Sto Basketin the Hodil Nesto Dit Oi the Neba Washington Kakail Gero da Biga Jo Khatkhathli da the nature da Hos Islam Sa Sin Kaschindo the Nedan Linigi Nasoto Aruben Yahon Shlo Na Shi Nachote Schlicht dan Zenigi Yiseban Hat Khalid Olan Kitane Hajot so the Zenban das Hajo Khatkhathli be yindo benan tinda beninache nketene hajona de Catholic noye ebene arasa hazlin Thomas Cody aja yis director Cody Shadnaz nish ado stop Vice President Rochelle Montoya eto ho ada shana gande to shiketa satdown no ada shisa te khada gase hot on jono such ana gase Ado INDOT developing chapter outreach process. Atina we just in the hasne din the cut needy and nichi don the haskin up in the jazz listen that legi. Hate all that ole no even in our listening sessions are in the shata in the chapters are at hedolis hate all the hajos listen that deal nish. Jodi the Neba Washington Satotin Hidet Satoi Hos Dodo yo Todro Ashimpi Tojida a teen better date it or Washington the better date it or Sae counties the better date it or hot in and Hidet it hot in Hajos Kisna and Nisto Hajos Ketedins and go Anehi Abedanil Anito a teen bedanil nish dolis. Auto March 22nd last week, Congressman Theresa Ledger Fernandez, Washington, that 1 million KCZY no le nal Glonshi Vet Center Animal Shelter bin hot on kakadesh was no a Crown Point because anigi stand at this Latina Hedoma Hunzagos Hajol Chedo Nishno Jono na Khayas Kiton Hat as Khatayar Jono 1 million years Hodolis Congresswoman das song. Do had about the nicht. Do negi meet and greets. Eastern Agency Navajo Council Leadership Meeting. Le Tratnas Nille. Acha Satit Leston Jono listen the Hodil Tano. Idades on le not the George, but the old Tragi. Well, Hikre at end not only than Linigi Tratnas Nille. And Jono Hanabjedish la don died the doskis. Le Aita Kushi Jindo Aden Shahada Streda Doslito or on the nut art sad ben kitchen dishne. A hot oya Bahazinia. Haishin Kidatis Agi by other dish skitishno. It or Aroshandas Nishigi large that division directors added the Honlon that don Jono at the Ilian so Bansiskis, Jehoto Bansiskis, Tratnas Nelechit or Ladolech, Jope Ada which not Ani than Lenigi. Do beslo betates agi yeshel ndahazne aro khada auch kisigi kelto hinsins telto jo dito tene akhore keda honitinigi kitchinda hoitnani da negi sha office in da hosnegi elo yahan kedini do ebeni nature shada in nation so Aro Binda on the STEM event Newcomb High School Binda and Action Newcomb the Austragi Sahalin the 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th, 11th, 12th grade out of the Kuishi and then Nishte Yosh Yerigi that Energy Intech the APS the only band of minds that Energy the Kui Goshi Hoto that Nishigi Shillo are Chinyas which has the Yesibe which has the an nisenzenigi eteltzil an nisenzenigi junon sin kesigi si belaho bin shranzo hot odeya tabedinin hot oyaso ha ish ato leligi nakhada to nil labdshno yesejo alchinies nada no seli late si yego lada to bin shrata dido yo grade yadat etelanzen hot ene aro erebans da kesigi an etelntlo an deya juno tansen kesa boholni jo tiindon de isa khait od pansen kesgi hot on juno alla edilt ab de snode hot only stem de energy science technology engineering math hodat energy juno betat not kaldo jo de disg da beta inist ab de snode hot khadole nukum skyhawks seniors adashi dan kelchen da alt khawta honenanigi upcoming events. March 30th is the Navajo Women's Veterans Conference at San Juan College. Saturday, go 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. This is the last so sunny than Lenigi. Tilzen do behenni ton le heit ora shikado woltano son aren dak khedoleth VA claim service assistance employment opportunities benefits for women veterans no she's San Juan College 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. hot Miss Navajo to host Easter celebration free to family Navajo Nation Museum Saturday 9 a.m. to Navajo Nation Parks and Rec out of parking lot do Miss Navajo event do Miss Navajo but 928-871-6379 out of the 7th annual National Vietnam War Veterans Day Friday going to initial his count. There will be a parade, trail ride, t-shirts for sale, and various activities. The theme, Silent Warriors of Vietnam. 42,000 American Indians served in Vietnam War. Hoto. They had nitales nikisalat so ne tonande khada dit das ba hoto natahas kha si yegod that nilzen do bich khada dit zeto the kuigus but no til no but not hagim to she are traun storle are his count trote tranas zetole salat so dan lenigi yat to hen khanda so pagido he which na khansi kesot hodot niligi bin na are do le trote is count starting tomorrow Friday aro hodoshin he do le hodo Dr. Bu Nygren the Nebanon hoto khanen KGAK ingi khado le haro shin hatta so kiz sashi in le post office to shin parking lot do han keten da azido sashi ha wanted that should mean dai so khando ha shin thada do khagi khan ke din di da si yego ne khedin sin don khansis keso da huich the net the kui go shin bichin da huit nanige hoto not ani hoto bel keten da hasnele saten khido hode khada di khato meetings og the kuishin anish beket khada di kai ben yedet inigi bata yo ne to lehe nda bedishni he ben yedet inigi in khedne khida honnegi eben ye nada to na to khit ola peso otol ni khit ola thinda peso bahon lodo le khawan peso bahon lodo le khanod peso as anshi arosla daisno ai lo khed gedini do la si yego ni khilton kinanishin dazote be his ani de no sohigi he beswas anda no sengi ado so ado tenne no sengi Khairan hit that is shin to beswas an so to bedet khil na tahsne aro til so the nebant bebel ta dosne ta do noda hot jono khil da hoilne do ta hoini ta do le be a he do le aro shin la ita hosato sashia si yego satan kikeda betzista bichin da has to yego hat shi hot ora nikil da has anigin khansis kesote lo shit so de zin ben hinashnitole do abone zanito de never Washington da khit oda to ligi honlo da she Division of Social Service the Department of Health hoto honda hoto le hotende ayoda hinno ne dos kita not do hajo chi yeta yese latashi peso da piga hada chedeta tendo sita she yegon kitchen da hui now da te ten sadia at so de zenya at gi ha debe a jebe edelnile estrashi ha ishida nheta tendo ten Yate yonin schnedo estrasine is kan shidolech da hot on sa kesigi jolchinies na da noseligi hot o benal jagado benalia jeltke goy so abe hot o nasqui gatolech joshe hot o nes trado hot o leda banses kesle estrasi do bonet za de nalende hot enen ashi abiga ashi bonet za do ashi het order dolech hat nenigi so de zen bol trada ja hen gedini de lesche de ne ado gaat auch kisigi hoje de mo na hoil jesho de nebendan ta ilan nila dat no senigi hedolech ado de yin kilta handnon jono na de no katolech hagone ja Hey, Yarate, this is Navajo President Dr. Nygren. Aro hata so kizishin jgona go ta isno sande a hen gedini de lasi yego hoda shifilne do khare shi the better to be cage gosan jono Facebook live national kidne be gatole take care support one another and I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in and continue to support one another and let's get some things done. Again, continue to follow my page on Instagram, Twitter, and my Spotify as well if you missed this message as well. So again, on behalf of the Navajo Nation, take care and God bless the Navajo Nation. Hagone.
Good afternoon, everyone. Shin Non Kadishna Navajo Nation Vice President Rochelle Montoya. I'm here. I actually am on my way. I'm traveling this afternoon to help celebrate the accomplishment of one of our children, Kuri. Naomi Glasses. Todos ella asana jake not to she's put it down on paper, she's put it down on material, she's put it down across the world with in collaboration with Ralph Lauren, and they are dropping their new clothing line this evening. It's called Color in Motion. Because of that, I'm wearing a very pink shirt today because of the colors and the brightness that it brings to the world. The yoga baskets, the jewelry, all different types of things that we have in our Navajo way of life. Our younger generation is adding on to it. They're putting their own flair into it. And it's such a beautiful and wonderful sight to see that they carry on the traditions that we have within our Navajo culture. And so I'm going to be supporting Naomi and the Glasses family this evening in Phoenix. And I'm so happy to be able to participate in that celebration with her and her family. If you go to Ralph Lauren's website, you will see her collection there, Color in Motion, and you will see it across the world. They have stores in Japan, Australia, and just imagine her grandmothers, her ancestors, her matriarchs, and all the different people that have touched her life and that she has worked with. She's putting that out there for the world to see and for our Navajo culture to be out there. So I'm so proud of her and to be able to participate this evening. I have had a couple of concentrations this year, the second year of the Nygren Montoya administration. And one of them is the work towards establishing an animal humane society on Navajo Nation. We're starting out with finding out plans across Navajo Nation, which one of our agencies are already working on this type of work. And we've come to find that the Eastern Agency has already started their hard work on establishing this type of facility on the Navajo Nation. President of Crown Point Chapter, Rita Capitan, said that there's already land that has been allocated for not a humane society, but an animal shelter, animal clinic in Crown Point area near the judicial the judicial complex in Crown Point. And so we are working with that chapter and working with the Eastern Agency to build upon what they've already started. And I'm so appreciative of that chapter, that the chapter officials there, the Club C, the Community Land Use Plan Committee. I'm sorry, again, I'm traveling, so I'm in and out of service. If I break up in my service here. But that's one of the initiatives that we started out with in the campaign that First Lady Jasmine had talked about during the campaign was animal responsibility. And we still talk about that. We have different entities that come into Navajo Nation to conduct spay and neuter clinics and vaccination clinics. So keep your eye out for that, and be patient, because these events are very busy and very well utilized. And so let's be appreciative to these entities that come out and bring these services. When I did a tour of the Best Friends Humane Society in Kanab, Utah a few months back, they were telling me that the cost of spaying and neutering one animal is about $3,000. And some of these entities donate their time, donate their skills and the equipment to conduct these spay neuter clinics across Navajo Nation. If you're able to give any type of donation to participate, that's probably appreciated. That is one of the biggest reasons why I'm pushing this initiative through with Navajo Nation during the administration. We all service on Navajo, not just for our smaller, for their animals. Which
Good afternoon. Sarah Slim Yanchiedo. I'm the Navajo Hopi Land Commission Director and on a weekly basis under the Nygren Montoya administration. They usually hold.
She's back. Keep going.
They usually hold the Facebook Lives, and I'm very happy to present to you today from Window Rock. The Navajo Hopi Land Commission da inishte it ke hona au na nishde ido nahast ego Navajo Hopi Land Commission beshba sa anabits anat niligi hashil son lo achado bitendelish. My program, the Navajo Hopi Land Commission, da inishigi Dr. Boo Nygren, Executive Branch, aje nan nishpash ido hashil son lo beshba sa anil to bitna anishin le ko kut au akon hidden da huis ago nan nishish. Although 23 chapters, chapters within NPL, and also chapters, the 9 chapters that were formerly impacted by the former Bennett freeze, also Nahat Adzil, new lands that the office has a week ago we traveled to Washington DC along with the Navajo Hopi Land Commissioners, some of the commissioners, and also the commission chair. Navajo technical amendments, hearing that Ehegi and O'Neill commissioner the selection of a commissioner to oversee Onir Akutat Eheki. That was that week was designated as Advocacy Week on behalf of the Navajo Hopi Land Commission. So the committee chair, Odo So, traveled into Washington. So we do have a law firm, Hobstrasse, and they schedule meetings on behalf of the Navajo Hopi Land Commission. So I took part. So last week we went and met with Chris Phelan. Chris is the support staff to Kristen Cinema. And also we met with Carmen Leal Ramirez, and she's from Mark Kelly's office. Although we also met with Rose Patotsky and also Elizabeth Reese. They work with the White House. So the advocacy was regarding the Navajo Hopi land dispute and the Bennett Freeze overview. So relocatees at Liniki, Bebichin, the Hastiki, Hopi Land Commission that they were able to advocate and convey the most current issues to our Arizona delegation and the various committees. And we also met with Eli Crane. And Eli Crane, he's the congressman from Arizona. He's more than willing to move forward with dropping the bill that's been crafted on behalf of the Navajo technical amendments. The Navajo Nation has really been pushing forward. So last week was essentially advocacy week. So a lot of these meetings took place, and we were supposed to meet with Ken Degenfield from the House Subcommittee on Indian Affairs, but that was rescheduled to another date, so I didn't get to participate. But a lot of the Navajo technical amendments that basically essentially addresses the restoration of land selection authority to the Navajo Nation, on the selection of lands to correct the surveying errors, which speaks to the 757 acres of land. There was an error that was made by BML. It's also in the easy lift the technical amendments, and also the expansion of beneficiaries of land selection and the Navajo Rehabilitation Trust Fund and its beneficiaries, and also the Navajo Nation Great through Sovereignty Empowerment Zone, and also we're also requesting for a study and report plan on impacts of the relocation and on the development freeze, former Bennett freeze. There was a study that was done, but no fundings have been made available to truly make an impact to begin to rehabilitate the former Bennett freeze. Although there's been a lot of advocacy too that's been coming through our office at the Navajo Hopi Land Commission, and it's also conveyed to the commissioners on the second generation, and so we have a lot of request that's on behalf of the second generation. So they're also inclusive, but certain decisions still has to be made if the second generation's advocacy is going to be placed in the easy lift of the technical amendments that's moving forth, and it's crafted, it's in draft. So the timeline that the nation is looking at is most likely Crane is going to drop the bill in November of this year. And in talking to Cinema and Kelly, we both have their support. And so it's just a matter of moving forward. And once the bill goes before for action, what we're essentially looking at is getting 200, probably 230 of the Congress to support our congressman that's going to be moving forward with this technical amendment. And also one area that I didn't mention was the relinquishment of the accommodation agreement. So the Navajo technical amendment easy lift that's being crafted at the national level, and also the advocacy on behalf of the second generation. And aside from that, the other advocacy that I'm moving forward with from our office is we have 6 resolutions that we've crafted from the Navajo Hopi Land Commission, and one of that being is the supporting passage of the Congress Congress of the technical amendments. A resolution, we've deployed that to all of the 23 chapters and including Nahat Atzil, and we have that out there. And we're also requesting to have the communities at the chapter level support our resolution, where it's asking the President of the United States to appoint a commissioner to oversee the Office of the Navajo Hopi Indian Relocation. And that's the federal office that's situated in Flagstaff, Arizona, the office that actually administered the relocation homes. Although the third resolution that we have out there, chapters go when we're respectfully asking that you support these initiatives when it comes before your chapter for action, is supporting passage of Congress of the technical amendments to the Navajo Hopi Settlement Act. And what that basically is the nation is requesting for a field hearing or also a congressional hearing. So we have a resolution out there that we deployed out to the respective chapters. And the next one is requesting additional appropriations from the United States Congress, mandating the Office of the Navajo Hopi Indian Relocation to repair homes. So what this basically is our office has like close to 400 clients that file with our office requesting for some type of home repair. So our office didn't have a budget, so it forced our department to move forward with putting forth a budget. And one of those avenues that we're using is we're requesting for support from the Navajo Nation Council, so we can at least draw down $250,000 from the UUFB. So all the necessary documentation we packaged together. And right now we're making the request, working with the DOJ to begin crafting of that particular resolution. We do have the support from the Navajo Hopi Land Commission, and we're asking for $250,000. So that's the other resolution. Relocation home. So it's really up to them, depending on what type of discussion they have at the various committee when this resolution goes before them. But we're also asking for the chapters to provide support at the community level, because a lot of this home repair is an unmet need. And we realize we have, from our office, we have to move forward to advocate for this. And this is one way that we're doing moving forward with soliciting for funds and to try to help a lot of those families that are in need. And that's where the $250,000, Nikki, we have that package, and we're probably going to get the supporting resolution at the next Navajo Hopi Land Commission. And the legislation, and to my understanding, all of the necessary documentation has been dropped off at Office of Legislative Services. So legislation, we're requesting for a lot of our constituents to support that particular resolution request. And the last resolution that we have deployed to all of the chapters is where a lot of this unmet need, and we have the second generation and also the first generation of relocatees, they've been asking for support. And so therefore, we've also crafted a resolution speaking to 50 million. And our office is tasked with raising 50 million. And so we're moving forward. And one way is to request to work with the Navajo Nation Council, where if we can realize some of those funds coming from the American Rescue Plan Act. We do have that resolution too, and we've passed that on to the 23 chapter, and we're also working. And I do appreciate we have the Western Agency Council that approved the resolutions, and then we have various chapters like Kaibito, Coppermine, Tonalea. I know Tonalea is looking at approving those resolutions. As of yesterday, I know that Chief Chimbito, we appreciate, they considered all of our 6 resolutions and they dropped off the supporting approved resolution. And so what we're doing is we're packaging all of the approved resolutions that are trickling in, and we're going to move forward with given any opportunity that's afforded to raise a lot of these funds. And we're also in contact with ONER, which is the Office of the Navajo Hopi Indian Relocation. If we can get the necessary numbers of these beneficiaries that truly need the home repair. They're also saying that if you could come forward with a proposal, they'd be more than happy to entertain that and to see if we can get some funds off of them. This week, the Navajo Hopi Land Commission and Eli Crane, our congressman, he has been very supportive in this process as the Navajo Nation is moving forward in terms of advocating for the Navajo technical amendments. The commissioner, the appointment of the commissioner certainly lies with the United States President. So we do have President Nygren and also Eli Crane that has already crafted a letter of support. That letter has gone to the President of the United States, urging him to expeditiously appoint someone that can oversee ONER. I know that the Navajo Nation's position at this time is to keep ONER open. In the past, I know that there was a report that came out in 2018 with respect to the Government Accountability Act. So there's a lot of corrective actions that still needs to be addressed before the closure of ONER can be realized. So therefore, I just wanted to make it clear that the Navajo Nation's position is to recommend that ONER not to be shut down, but to continue to allow that operation moving forward. And again, Najinido na Enschmon Chishapishindo Tachi National Ado Sarah Slim doing Yenchiedo, Yad en Hidinido let at the Hois Ago, Kododa Isanot Agido, Kodo A Baba Henson Hashilson, no ein Hanaho Aho A Ahon Shehen de Ayan Kodon Hinan Nishadale Energy at the Hois Ado, Joshua program, Miki Aya. We actually work with clienteles from the respective chapter level, and we're dealing with trying to improve the lives of a lot of our beneficiaries that live in the outlying areas that encompasses all of the 23 chapters. And we're always pushing forward, looking for avenues, and I certainly look upon our chapter officials to develop that working partnership so we can begin to come together, shoring up with whatever resources that we can pull together to address a lot of the unmet needs. So the has a quite at a non da kai to a benia codon hinan state edo a yopenesh no a codo at the house agon hidden dash nistoyat and kidini dole. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Adi Daisnalsagi, Shikosendo, Shidene, She Tony Scrolana's A and she, they Saho Lido Nasha, Big Mountain. Sumasano should say HNS, Santo Tolich Indian and Shle, do Lithuanian, A Bashishin, and Tlislanda should say. And I always introduce myself in our traditional way because it's really important. Kodon Hachina. Bizarro, Kebe, Danotikin, Kodobe, Benacha Ehozania, Do Yobe Nanshin Shiko. But I really wanted to highlight a couple of things. Kodo, I serve as Division Director for Economic Development. Kodo Shinantako, Diego, Kodo Shikidili, Do Di Isina Nisha, I say Diego. Anich, Nahot, Nan Shanel Charge, Koho, A. The Koshik Bautish, I need Nakis Kanya Dan Eastern Agency chapters, Aja Betlasi Clinto. I say, yeah, but now I see you, Jojo, you've been dating a shit on the Scott. A Kodobash now, Jodi Nanishkan Chadigi, business development. There's different tools, yeah. And ADG, what I offered to the chapters over there was that we're really excited. I mean, this is a really important topic, and we're very excited to help the chapters do economic planning, look at where they can develop certain types of businesses, really consider if those business ideas are feasible. The other part of it then is really how you get the land ready for economic development, how you get the land ready for a business owner so they can actually fast track their business, you know. And I did a lot of that kind of education. Yeah, you need to do a good strategic plan. You got to really think through what kind of businesses you want. You know, is it a restaurant? Is it a campground? Is it a small inn? Is it a community market? RV park? Is it a manufacturer or a garage? And then really looking at, well, what's the traffic numbers? How feasible is it? And there's a lot of software for that now to help us make that determination. Who's going to actually be the business operator, you know, and really figuring that part out too. Some chapters, they come up with a business idea, but the land isn't withdrawn. There's no infrastructure. Upgrading, making the sewage, making the water meet the demand of that business is usually like a long process. So being realistic as a chapter, and so that's really something that we offered Eastern, and it's something that we offer to you as chapters, because I feel like a lot of chapters they're just really it's all kind of different approaches across Navajo land, and really we need to develop more of a consistent process, you know. So I educated the Eastern officials about that, and I also updated them that we just launched a new website. You know, we revamped our website. Yeah, Kodo na nishya halagi di nitrin sekis patient sekis biyeto website navajoeconomy.org will launch today liaya, and it's really taking the place of our old website. And our goal was so we wanted people to feel comfortable with searching for certain things. Yeah, it could be, how do you start a business, you know, how do you do a business plan, what are my resources, what land's available, what do I need to do to get a business site lease, how do I incorporate, how do I get on the Navajo certification lists, you know. So need departments in special initiatives, yeah. And ADG ISGEGO yeah and I know Linigi OU United KitKat the ARPA we're just in the process of relaunching our hardship program, yeah, for business owners. Ni aware kodo they see kind of Spencer Woolley will yego HN4 solutions will yeah. Hojon hustling ide ajinni ya so zingo Asia yan so bina nishigi wat abije igi la HN4 solutions ko khayinadnish ako de la adige kodo dan late net khatia, right? You know, our president wants us to really do this outreach in our flea markets, in our communities, in places like out in the, you know, maybe the Navajo, maybe Pinyon, it could be Kaibito, in real the backcountry, counselor that Hegi, and really Nick Echo to really help some of the weavers, some of the sheep herders, some of the ranchers that really didn't get help. Even tour companies, a lot of our tour operators didn't get help the first round. So, and then there was a whole set of businesses that were approved and program again contract expire. It's called AD hatabi wato AD adige I thought be the azlinki seto ato sabe baka ayedigi nana Ado ban date all eyes but the net ado ye baka or the edas ba ando link that the ninde ato ba hol Jesus kwasan at sege you be na as ninde ato peso but hol net ako ede ben de nesto sa ato baka ye digi isto ako khastad khastad mil gadget only 20 مليار جنيه لا بكادو ولا بس أني هاد اللي أكو ADK أدي اللي وشيا أدو لا بنادي اللي le Congress United States Treasury ni peso kuda lelo al sosgi al kenda si nel ako ni hinant abij la ade de krisis kanshi ni peso kudneta na di na tebet no nast the mil sohya 89 million the banks are not lending to our business owners. And with this program, it provides guarantee, it provides loan participation. Yeah, but more banks, more financial institutions will provide lending products. Peso hato niliki ben nasha bena nishito zinliki ayonan ako tiben nasha AI stonan adole no ko the course you can the seat ako Asia is the ye go be ben that need tindo let it'll be on our website. I said in the same way the net khate so the year the net khate de ada bada huile do ada belta huit ago the negego be bakati chata di no ke de ni ako is na peso ye kai do lo so that ku de shi da mil the ne ma nishte ye li be bakati chata di ni go ya ako da ben de na shakos and do the economic summit of a night kid ya shingo you will so nate ya akonde kodo oyo so o yun ska not to hajo den alla bande in the ochale na no so yun nask na kodo to hajo alla betahwil na se ban to ba hodon ha ti ho ya ba chet do na pa na hot do o at selo na halen ako kodo la hajo la atin so hajo la se ba honey kiago ajoba nate ego. Let's be careful. Let's be really deliberate. Let's be disciplined and patient in the way we present this information. So we're breaking it up into 5 summits. Yeah, there are mini summits. We really want to keep the numbers small. We want to talk about small business, all facets of small business. We want to talk about financing. It's going to be a different one. Everything from venture cap, bank financing, ARPA, different types of lending initiatives, helping people fill out financing packages. We're going to do one on technology, things like artificial intelligence. We're going to do a youth summit. You know, it's a year ago. And Hatchina Sato Lesto, Eben Nature, Karet, Hegedai, or your Tahiado, Hajopa has other, this summer, Olgegi, a cola, I said the Hajo only, a bandati, Athati, no, a call, what up and the Huit Asha, Shakwas, and we'll be organizing these. We're going to be hiring 2 consultants to help us coordinate these events. I've already updated a lot of our leadership that this is how we're going to do it. Will facilitate it. Will capture information. Yeah, Kotashi Jondole. Korea Shakosana, Anza Shahosis are not the kiddo. Chanao, Yan National. Oh, yeah, Jono Atata Hasiato, Nimasandon, he shade and he gave that in Chindan, he dadon, he art Bansura Keso, by Yego, by Banda, Kato, Besajo, Chido Ketadone, Akodo, Hatahni, Atata, Hasiato, needs Ison, Zaki. Skiya ba da chen wada go don hito shin no le so jono kon ye to asa kya na.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hi, this is Kim Russell, Navajo Department of Health Director. Happy to be here today to give you some updates from the Navajo Department of Health. I believe the last time I was able to address the community was probably early February, so a lot has happened in the past couple of weeks. So I'll go ahead and just dive into some of the magnificent stuff that we've been doing at the department. Of course, I have a huge cadre of staff, very educated, experienced staff who do this work every day. I want to just say thank you to all of our staff throughout our nation who are delivering these services to our people. the impact you make is very, very important. And it really embodies our mission of Navajos healing Navajos. That's really the approach that we're taking within the Department of Health, is our own people taking care of ourselves, one another. So thank you, staff throughout the nation, Navajo Department of Health. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you for the service that you provide to all of our community. So these past couple of weeks, I've been doing quite a bit of travel on behalf of President Nygren. President Nygren sits on a number of national committees within Department of Health and Human Services. And Department of Health and Human Services is a huge department with multiple agencies. And so each agency has a tribal advisory committee, and they try to abide by tribal consultation on a quarterly basis. And of course, the president is needed elsewhere a lot of the time. So I serve as his primary on a lot of these committees. So a lot of the trips have been to DC to be that voice for Navajo. And so I went to DC a number of times these past couple of weeks. One was to attend the National Tribal Budget Formulation Work Session. I also attended that along with Delegate Jermaine Simonson, who was the alternate for that session. And then I was able to advise her and be able to be a voice for Navajo. We met with all the other areas across the nation, and we made sure to raise our issues in the areas of elder care, long-term care support, and also in the areas of tribal correctional health. The reason why we wanted to bring more attention to these areas is that it's for especially tribal correctional health care, and I mentioned this before, tribal correctional health care is not funded through any mechanism, whether it's IHS or through BIA. There is no funding for this type of service. And the other one would be elder care, long-term care support. There is, I guess you could say, a bucket that's been created through Congress, but there's been no appropriation. So basically a unfunded mandate through Indian Health Service. So these two big areas of healthcare, we really need to be able to collectively advocate for these services to be funded. And of course, a lot of those appropriations will come through Congress. So that was my first trip to the National Tribal Budget IHS formulation work session. Coming up next in a couple of weeks would be the overall DHHS budget formulation that we'll be attending. I also was back in Atlanta, Georgia, where the CDC is located, and was really happy to be able to take a tour of the CDC laboratory there, and just how they are able to use the laboratory across the nation to identify the various viruses and diseases that impact us across the nation. The lab I was able to tour was the one with foodborne illnesses. And they talked about how in this particular lab, they're able to work with different jurisdictions when they have an outbreak, a salmonella or just any foodborne illness, and they really help us so that they can identify what the viruses or the bacteria is, and then they know how to approach it to eliminate it. So that was a really interesting lab tour that I was able to take, and that was my first meeting with CDC. And then another visit that I took back in Washington, D.C. was to be a part of the National Indian Health Board meeting. And we are a part of a greater consortium of tribes where we advocate on different priorities. We talked a lot about the syphilis epidemic and how it then then can transfer to the baby, then it's congenital syphilis. And we also talked about contract support costs. So just a lot of representing Navajo this past couple of weeks on a national level. And then just to kind of share some information, of course, doing a lot of work on the opioid settlement and how we can build a budget that will really impact substance abuse and opioid use here on our nation. We're still working through what that could look like, but really kind of focusing on infrastructure areas. One being a telebehavioral health infrastructure, an IT infrastructure, and a Medicaid a reimbursement third-party infrastructure. So there's a lot of infrastructure that we need to build in order to really impact how we deliver services, especially in the area of behavioral health services, which then leads us to, how do we recruit and retain behavioral health providers, including dental providers and primary care providers. So we're really trying to put together a multi-strategy approach to building our system. We run programs right now, but there's a lot of infrastructure that we still need to put in place. so that we can be effective and that it can be a sustainable type of service, because healthcare is a business, and we're really trying to approach the work that we do at Navajo Department of Health with some business-minded strategies, so that when we do the work, we are reimbursed. And a lot of that is through third-party reimbursements, and that's how you sustain these programs, is through those third-party reimbursements. I'm about my time here. It goes by so quickly, but I just wanted to leave you with a message. You may have been hearing in your communities on social media that there is a rise of measles across the nation. It's not a lot of people having measles. I think the last count I knew was like 60 people across the nation. But we really want to make sure that it doesn't go beyond that, because measles is a very contagious disease. It's even more contagious than COVID and some of the other viruses out there. So I wanted to just leave you all with a few messages. And the best way to protect yourself and others is to receive the MMR vaccine. And this usually happens when a child is 12 to 15 months of age. That's their first dose. And then the second dose is 4 to 6 years of age. So moms, grandmas, fathers, grandfathers, if you are in charge of one of your grandchildren or children, please make sure that they go in to get their vaccinations. When COVID hit, that was impeded. We didn't do that a lot. So please make sure you go in and do that. Measles is in our nation. We don't want it to come to Navajo. So please go to your nearest healthcare provider to get those measles vaccine, MMR vaccine. And I think that's my time. Thank you for giving me some time to report out to you. Thank you.